Tommy DeVito has me wanting to say so many expletives right now. So boys and girls, cats and squirrels, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, sub, leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to be a goat. And let's get into the Tuesday touchdown talks here with Retro Bowl in the background. But really, it's more just, why the heck did Tommy DeVito have to be actually good? 7.4 points average per game at home the Giants had. And they scored 24 on us. Also, why the heck are we running an end around that hasn't worked the past 3 times we've run it on the potentially most important play of the game? I'm gonna have to find out Matt LaFleur's explanation for that. Anyways, let's talk Patriots-Steelers, because the Patriots ruined the Steelers' chances of a playoff berth, it seems, because the Steelers, they do not look very hot right now. Their offense has went back to what it was before Matt Canada was fired, and the defense not able to do enough to get them the win. So unfortunately, they lost and are now 7-6, which is still better than my Packers record. Yay! If only we could have beat the Tommy DeVito-led Giants. They're only 1 game behind us now. 1 game. We're 6-7. What a disappointment. We should go 10-7. We should have went 11-7. I knew we were gonna trip up. I knew it. It was just too good to be true. Ugh. Anyways, Texans-Jets. The Jets ran the Texans out the water. The Texans were already banged up heading into this and got more banged up after it. And unfortunately, C.J. Stroud might be concussed. So, Rookie of the Year potentially has been soiled because of that. And then Zach Wilson somehow threw 2 touchdowns. I don't know. I didn't think that was possible in 2023. But it happened. Also, Breece Hall became literally the greatest player in Jets history for like 1 game. So that's great. Also, Nico Collins, I think, got injured. Are you kidding me? A fumble here, too. Jeez. Fumbling the bag, just like the Packers. Got to remind me of that constantly, don't you, game? Anyways, the best game of the week, in my opinion, other than maybe next one we'll talk about, the Rams-Ravens went into overtime and a punt return touchdown by the Ravens to win the game. What a freaking thriller. Oh, my gosh. I didn't get to watch this game because it went so long. And I don't have, red zone or anything necessarily. But dang, the Rams look really good. And if they're trying to get that number 6 or number 7 spot from a team like the Packers, or even the number 6 spot from a team like the Vikings, they look the best, like the best team out of all of us. So looking hot for that. And then the Ravens, they just continue to win games, close games, however it, they have to. They're getting it done. And Lamar, I don't think he's an MVP, but he's doing really good. Next game we're gonna talk about is Buccaneers Falcons. Sorry, the Falcons choked. Haha, let's go. Which actually really helps the Packers playoffs hopes, but still, I mean, come on, man. Anyways, the Bucs pulled out a thriller against the Falcons. The Falcons, like I said, choked at the end of the game. Are you kidding me? I missed that pass. God dang it. And they scored a field goal. Okay, fine. But the Bucs, Baker Mayfield led a comeback drive to win the game at the last second, basically, and pulled it out. But another thriller was the Jags-Browns. Wasn't necessarily a thriller, but Joe Flacco became old Joe Flacco, as in, like, actually kind of good. And Trevor Lawrence became old Joe Flacco before he was really good again. So, when he was washed with the Jets, basically. And somehow still almost won the game. Anyways, we got the Bengals-Colts that happened after. And the Colts got ran out the building. The Bengals and Jake Browning. Great story for Jake Browning, but, like, I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to win playoff games, per se. But I think they will win next week against the Vikings, because the Vikings put up 3 points, which is another interesting game. The Vikings, 3 points, winning over the Vegas Raiders. 3-0. Are you kidding me? I watched all of that game just for it to end 3-0. I'm so pissed. I was so invested in the game because it was 3-0. I had to watch the whole thing, and somehow the Vikings still won. They still won, but at least the Lions lost to the Bears 28-13. Holy crap. Can't believe they choked like that. Just can't believe it. Jared Goofball needs to get rid of the turnovers, man. Like, truly and utterly. Just get rid of them. Unlike the Panthers, which they need to keep turning the ball over so that they can get that #1 pick and give it to the Bears, right? No, I'm just kidding. However, the Saints do need to stop turning the ball over. The Panthers somehow are going to give the Bears the #1 overall pick. Don't know how that's going to happen, but it's absurd. But Derek Carr is not going to be winning any, division throwing interceptions at the rate he has been throwing them. So, not looking good for them, but at least they're still in it for their division, unlike the Packers. Can't believe it. And then we have the Seahawks-Niners. The Niners just dominated that game, just from the get-go. I mean, the Seahawks, for a little while, it felt like Drew Lock might be able to pull them into it. He didn't. He really didn't. He threw 2 picks. He didn't look terrible. Threw 2 touchdowns as well as 2 picks. But 2 picks is not going to win you a football game when you're playing the greatest team in the league. That is just absurdly good. CMC went off for 145 yards and like a touchdown or 2, so you can't beat that. But if you're the Broncos, you can beat the Chargers, because the Chargers are absolutely terrible. Their season is over. Justin Herbert is out for the foreseeable future, we'll say. I don't know if he's out for the year, but they should shut him down for the year, in my opinion. Their season's over. I don't think they should be risking his health and their future because Brandon Staley's a moron. That's all I got for the Chargers. And then with the Broncos, they've won 6 out of their last 7. They're 7-6. They're 1 game behind the Mahomes-led Chiefs, and looking good. And speaking of the Mahomes-led Chiefs, how about you cry a little bit more, Mahomie? Come on, man. He was offsides. I understand. Blah, 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 blah. You shouldn't have been called. Blah, 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 blah. Don't care. You guys lost that game. It's that simple. I would rather have been able to see Josh Allen march down that field and win the game, yes. But if he wasn't able to, it is completely unfair to not call that offsides. And so you got to shame Kadarius Toney for that, and you got to make him make it right. You got to, he's got to win you Super Bowl MVP, man. Truly. That's the only way he can make it up at this point, I feel. He's lost you 2 games and just not looked good, the receivers for the Chiefs. And neither has Stephon Diggs, if I'm going to be honest, man. Stephon Diggs for the Bills does not look good, but Josh Allen is literally Superman and is doing whatever it takes to get these Bills across the finish line and into the playoffs, even though I don't think they're going to win the actual whole thing. Whereas the Cowboys actually look like they could, which is kind of absurd. Kind of absurd. Yeah, I don't know what to say other than it's kind of absurd that the Cowboys are actually good. I think they're good. And the Eagles might be frauds because they now dropped 2 straight, and they did not look like a Super Bowl contending team in those 2 games. I have faith in Jalen Hurts to get it back on track, but man, if the Cowboys look that good and the Niners look as good as they have, the Eagles aren't going to have a chance. They're just not gonna. They have to win close games, and it's just not gonna happen if they're playing like how they did on yesterday. But another game that just ended with 32 points in the 4th quarter. I don't know how this happened. I gotta look real quick. Somehow or another, the Dolphins lost to the Titans. I'm baffled by this because the Dolphins were up 27-13 and now they lost. It's game over. It just ended. What? How did they lose that? Tua didn't even have any turnovers. He went 23 of 33, 0 touchdowns. I don't know how he had 0 touchdowns and they still won. Don't know how this happened, but How? What? At least I won 44-43 here. I'm trying to figure out how the Titans won that game, but man, Derrick Henry's just better, I guess. So, if you guys want to see me wallow in misery over the Packers losing and potentially ruining their playoff hopes, please make sure to like, sub, leave a comment down below. And as always, don't forget to be a goat. Oh, jeez. 529 yards, 6 touchdowns, and I won the game. So, I'll see you in the next one, guys. It's been fun, but not as a Packers fan. Peace.